Good morning, children. Yesterday you learned about respiration in different organisms and what are the respiratory organs present in human system you learned. And once we will see the parts again what are present in the respiratory system, right? We'll breathe the air through our nostril and enters into the trachea. And trachea is divided when it reaches to the chest. It divided into bronchi. Bronchi is redivided into bronchioles. Bronchioles opens into the alveolar sac. Alveolar sac leads to the alveoli. Alveoli, near the alveoli, exchange of gases takes place. And below the lungs, a muscular sheet is present, a sheet of muscles present, that is known as diaphragm. So up to this you learned yesterday, right? So today we'll see what are the changes takes place when we inhale and when we exhale. How the diaphragm is helping in this process we'll see. Diaphragm is a muscular sheet, I told you. So it will be in the dome shape. Below the lungs it is present, and when we are inhaling, at the time of inhalation, what happens? The diaphragm comes to the flat shape. Diaphragm comes to flat in shape. It comes to flat shape, and due to this, the volume increases in the lungs. Volume increases inside the lungs so that the pressure of the air decreases. The pressure of the air decreases because from down the diaphragm is pushing and the ribs comes out. The ribs, when we breathe full of your lungs, you feel that your chest part little rises up. That means the ribs are little coming forward and the lungs capacity increases, volume increases inside. Due to that, the air pressure decreases. And because of the decreased air pressure, more air comes into the lungs and the lungs get expand. So the diaphragm comes to the inhalation time, the diaphragm comes to the flat shape. It comes to flat in shape, and volume of lungs increases, and the air pressure, so the volume is increased inside the lungs. So the air pressure is reduced. Air pressure reduced. Because of reduced air pressure, we breathe air inside the lungs and the lungs expands. These are the changes taking place at the time of inhalation. When we are breathing the air inside, these changes takes place. And then what happens when we are exhaling air outside? When we are exhaling, what changes occurs we'll see now. When we exhale the air, exhalation time, at the time of exhalation, the diaphragm moves inside, goes to the normal position, that is dome-shaped position it goes. The diaphragm goes to the dome shape, normal position it goes. It comes to the normal position. What is coming to the normal position? The diaphragm is coming to the normal position. Its shape is dome shape. And the lungs, volume of the lungs decreases because this diaphragm moved upward, so that the volume inside the lungs decreases. Volume decreases, so the air pressure is increased. Opposite to the inhalation time. volume is increased in the inhalation time, air pressure is decreased. But in the exhalation time, opposite to that it happens because of the diaphragm position. The diaphragm pushed upward and it went to the normal position, the dome-shaped position it came, and because of this, the volume inside the lungs decreased and the air pressure is increased. Because of this, the air comes out from the expelled outside from the lungs. The air comes outside. So the contraction takes place here. So we exhale the air when the air pressure is decreased inside the lungs. These are the changes taking place at the time of exhalation. Due to this, inhalation and exhalation, we can count it as one breath. Yesterday we discussed that one inhalation and one exhalation together known as one breath. So breathing rate means in a minute how many breaths will take, the count is known as breathing rate. So you can do an activity on breathing rate. We can do an activity on breathing rate. Early in the morning, you count your breath. And you all know that the healthy person breathing rate is 15 to 20 times. If we do any physical activities, it increases up to 25%. This we discussed yesterday. That practically you observe whether that number is it right or wrong, you find out. As soon as you get up from the bed, you check your breathing rate, inhaled air, exhaled air, and your chest increases when you breathe and it decreases when you release the air out. And like that, early in the morning when you get up from the bed, you check your breathing rate and note down in the notebook. And after doing walk, 10 minutes of vigorous walk, you again check your breathing rate. And after doing some physical exercise, you count your breathing rate and see the difference when you are in the rest time, when you woke up from the bed, when you walk or when you do physical exercise, how your breathing rate is changing. You can find out by doing this activity. And now when we see during inhalation, exhalation time, how your chest is expanding and contracting. Okay, to understand this also you can do one more activity. This along with all your family members, you can do this activity. First write their name and then chest increased during inhalation time. Take a measuring tape. During the inhalation time, how much chest is increased? Chest increases during inhalation time. Take a measuring tape. Ask your youngest brother or sister and ask them to inhale full of their lungs and measure their chest. And then write the measurement here. And in next column, ask them to exhale the air. And again you measurement at the time of exhalation time. Exhalation time, just chest decreases. So how much it decreased you see. And finally you can find out the chest capacity. The capacity of the chest you can find out by doing this experiment. How much air the lungs are holding. Is it same to every person or is it differ from one person to the other person? And you can identify by doing this activity. You need only simple measuring tape and the members who are available in your home. One time, inhalation time, measure the chest, and exhalation time, measure the chest, and finally you can get the chest capacity, how much air it's holding. Okay, so do these two activities, children. Write your observations in your notebook. And now exhalation time, it's releasing carbon dioxide plus energy we told, right? That means from the trachea entering into bronchi, bronchi to bronchioles, and then alveolar sac to the alveoli. In near the alveoli, exchange of gases taking place. Yesterday we discussed this. Near the alveoli, the exchange of gases takes place. What really actually the alveoli consist of? They have a grapes, bunch of grapes, how they looks like that they'll be, and they are richly supplied with blood capillaries. Blood capillaries, they are richly supplied with blood capillaries. Arteries and veins, they'll be divided into thin tubules known as capillaries. So these capillaries are supplying the nutrients to each and every alveoli. So through the blood, they are receiving the oxygen rich air near to the alveoli. So it uses that and it sends to each and every cell of the body. After utilizing, after breaking down in the cell, after breaking down the glucose, then the carbon dioxide is released. That carbon dioxide again through capillaries comes to the alveoli. So here the alveoli again release out the CO2 into the capillaries. Okay, like that the exchange of gases taking place in alveoli. Okay, so how can we prove that? The released air, how much amount of oxygen rich air we are breathing, inhaling time, and we are exhaling time, oxygen is less in that air. Example, there is a calculation for this. The exhaled air, the inhaled air, how much percent of oxygen, and the exhale air, how much percent of oxygen. So oxygen is 21% in the inhale air. That you all know, you learned about the composition of air. It consists of different gases and their percentages also you know. How much percent oxygen is there? 21%. And exhaled air, when we are exhaling the air after utilizing in the cells to break down the food, and then carbon dioxide is released out. That is only respiration. You are very familiar with that, right? So when we are exhaling, that air consists of 17% only oxygen. When we are inhaling, that is 21%. When we are exhaling, that is only 17%. And when we are inhaling, carbon dioxide is 0.04% CO2 we are inhaling. But when we are exhaling outside, 4.4% CO2 we are exhaling outside. That means is it increased or decreased? Obviously, the carbon dioxide percent is increased. That means we are exhaling the carbon dioxide more. Carbon dioxide rich air we are exhaling outside. Okay, how can we prove that? How can we say the exhaled air consists of carbon dioxide? Okay, to prove this, again you can do one more activity. In this, you take a test tube. These all activities we can do when our physical class starts. Compulsory we will do. And through virtual labs also, you can see all these experiments today. So take a test tube and then take lime water. Take some lime water, calcium hydroxide CaOH twice. So that lime water you take half of this test tube and put a cardboard, fix the cardboard above this test tube and make a hole in the this cardboard and insert a straw and the end of this straw should touch to the lime water. Okay, so you took a test tube and fixed a cardboard. You made a hole in the middle of the cardboard and you inserted a straw inside, and the other end of the straw is touching to the lime water. And then you hold your breath for second and then exhale the air into this straw. Slowly, carefully exhale the air into this straw. So as soon as this air come and mix with the lime water, this lime water turns into like milky white color it turns. Why it is turning into milky color? Because the exhaled air which you are exhaling through this straw, that consists of more amount of carbon dioxide. So whenever lime water is reacting with carbon dioxide, then this lime water is turning into like milky white color. So this proves that the exhaled air consists of carbon dioxide. Understood, children? So to prove that the exhaled air contains carbon dioxide, you can do this activity. So your today's homework is write an activity to prove that exhaled air consists of carbon dioxide. And you all know how to write an activity. There are 5 steps. First you need to write the aim of the activity, and then what materials you are using to do that activity, and then your procedure. Write the procedure, what you'll do, and finally write your observation. Write your observation, what you are going to identify by this activity. So write this clearly. So near the aim, what you'll write, children? To prove that exhaled air contain carbon dioxide, more amount of carbon dioxide. That is your aim, and the materials you are using: test tube you are using, lime water, straw, cardboard and your air, exhaled air. These are the materials you are using, and the procedure, you know what all you did in the experiment. You write the procedure. Finally your observation is lime water when reacted with CO2, it turned into milky. So this proves that the exhaled air consists of more amount of carbon dioxide. So now understood, children? In today's class, we discussed about what are the changes takes place at the time of inhalation, and at the time of exhalation what changes occurs, how diaphragm is taking an important role during inhalation and exhalation you understood, and also how to find out the breathing rate, how to find out the chest capacity. By doing activities you will understand more. So continue do this activity in your home and note down your observations, children. At the same time do the last activity also and send me the pics of that. And we will move on in the next class. How do different organisms, we'll discuss about aquatic animals and terrestrial and the insects, how they are breathing. Is there any different organs present in them? To continue the respiration process, we'll discuss, children. Thank you.
Do you want to turn blue? Oh no, not that! Then you gotta breathe, cause breathing's where it's at. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Inhaling air through my mouth and my nose, right up my two nostrils, but where does it go? It can't hang around in my mouth by my tongue. It's gotta get down to my right and left lung. It passes your pharynx, and then to your larynx, known as your voice box. Don't scream at your parents. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Fresh air, give me some fresh air. Down past your larynx, but where is air going? It's into your windpipe for tracheal flowing. A few inches long with round tracheal rings, moving air in and out when you talk or she sings. La 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 la. Yeah, tracheal rings, like ladders have rungs. The trachea is guiding fresh air towards our lungs. Trachea lungs.
Now let's stay on top of this. Air's not for the esophagus.
That's for food.
Now let's stay on top of this. Air's not for the esophagus.
That's for food.
The trachea knows that's where air's gotta go. The trachea knows that's where air's gotta go.
Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe.
Fresh air, give me some fresh air.
Trachea splits to a pair of bronchi, a left one and right one move air from the sky. Those bronchi branch into small bronchioles. They're inside your lungs, it's where air's gotta go. Bronchioles divide into alveoli, where gas exchange happens with air from the sky. The respiratory organs on which mammals rely to transfer the oxygen that's found in fresh air to nourish our body from toes to up here. Lungs are the ones and they're moving in place, contracting, expanding to set breathing's pace. Controlled by the diaphragm, controlled with such ease. Our two human lungs are what let us all breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe.
Fresh air, give me some fresh air.
Oxygen in, CO2 out. Respiration is breathing, that's what it's about. Take care of your lungs, the song we should sing.
And keep the air clean for each living thing.
Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe. Respiration, you gotta breathe. Take a deep breath, you gotta breathe, breathe, breathe.